All right, as usual, my morning started out by going through the comments on my channel and looking at what you guys wrote about my video yesterday. And a lot of you can really sympathize with the situation of a person that has to go to a job that they can't stand every day because they have to. There isn't a whole lot of opportunity in our society for people who generally would prefer not to work. Like if it were up to me, I wouldn't work. I would never ever go to work. Like I would just be like, as soon as I entered the job market when I was a teenager, I realized very quickly that this wasn't for me. I don't want to work. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to think about work. I don't want to stay up late at night thinking about a job that I don't care about. And I think that's the hardest part for Evil Corp is the fact that most people are disconnected from their jobs. We show up, we're not creative, we're not engaged, we don't care about Evil Corp. If Evil Corp makes another penny because of something that someone did, great. If it loses 10 pennies, great. It doesn't affect me in any conceivable way what Evil Corp does at the end of the day. So, forcing your workers into thinking that they matter, because this is something that happened to me when I was working at Walmart, is that the general manager reinforced to the workers that they had to exceed expectations every day so that the store could generate more revenue. And you're just like, you'd look at him when he was saying these things, just like with any CEO, that the workers are the reason why we're successful. You're like, yeah, but you don't care about the workers. The same person you're looking at straight in the two eyeballs right now is a worker that's probably not going to be there tomorrow or the day after or the day after. And so when you think of it in that way, that it doesn't matter whether or not you come to work, because as I've said many times before, every night that I go to sleep, I tell myself that I'm not going to go to work tomorrow because it's the only way that I can save a little part of my soul every single day in telling myself that I have the freedom to not go to work. And then I wake up at around 6:30 in the morning, at least this morning, and I had no motivation to go to the gym. I'm losing a lot of weight right now because I finally got past that. So we form bad habits, right? And for me, the worst habit that I can form, and it's happened to me repeatedly throughout my life, is you eat right before you go to bed. And for me, the most detrimental behavior to weight loss and sustained weight loss is eating at night before I go to bed. But it's very comforting. That's why we do it. But comfort and life, especially for the proletariat, isn't something that we typically get to enjoy. So I think it's been at least 2 to 3 weeks now in which I have not eaten anything at night. I wake up, I don't feel bloated, I don't feel gross, I don't feel hungover, I don't feel anything. I just feel normal. Like, and my stomach is really like when you wake up and after not eating, your stomach's like really empty. Like I can push in on it. I don't know why I'm talking about this other thing. I don't really know what else to say to fill the monologue. So, anyhow, I just woke up. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's get into today's two talking points before I lose my mind talking this morning. All right, so two talking points are going to be living on the edge of survival and constant anxiety and stress. These are two topics that are near and dear to me because you guys know this channel is about survival. The proletariat isn't living. The proletariat hasn't been living in a long, long time, if it ever has. When I think of a prole, I think of a disgusting, dirty, smelly, ugly human being working a job that basically at the end of a whip, right? Where in order to increase productivity, they have to threaten you with the whip. It's not so much even termination because most proles, if you ask the average person working a dead end job at Dairy Queen, ask them about how much they actually fear being terminated because you're so broke. You're living in a moneyless society at the bottom that going to work barely does anything. So when you try to convince the proletariat that their jobs matter, they'll laugh in your face. And this is something that I've noticed with general managers in every piece of crap job that I've had. Because remember, I've never had a good job in my life. The only reason I mention my current job is because it's the most money I've ever made in my life. But it's no different than working at Taco Bell or scrubbing, you know, unknown stains off of the floor at your local strip club. Oh my gosh, I have a cigarette burner in my freaking pajamas. Ah, Jesus, these were one of my favorite pair of pajama pants, and there's a hole in them. Remember, kids, don't drink. All right, so let's get into our first talking point here. So every purchase feels like a calculated risk. From groceries to rent, when you're extremely poor, basic necessities become luxuries. Every unexpected expense, whether it's a medical bill, a car repair, or even a minor household item, can destabilize your entire month. It's an exhausting cycle where one small setback can push you even further into hardship. I will tell you guys this, with the expense of food, and yesterday I had to have one of my tires repaired, and it took 3 hours. I was talking to you guys yesterday. You just kind of sit there and like, what do you do when you don't have the ability to take time off from work and the tire place closes at 5 and your work closes at 5 and they're not open on the weekend? And I'm just using this as an example because this happens to the pros all the time. When you need to be somewhere, the place is closed and you can't access it because you have to be at work. When there's no time off, when there's no uh, sick leave, when there's no vacation, when there's no benefits, when there's no nothing other than that crummy job, everything you do in that crummy job sets you back, and you spend your weekends. Like, I've gone to so many businesses on Sunday when I have time, like the budget tire place, it's closed on Sunday. Why would you close your business on Sunday when you know that the think of the title of your business, budget tires? That means that the people that are going to come there are going to be people who live on a budget, but you're closed on Sunday when most of the proletariat is available to go to your shop on that day, but you're closed because of religious reasons, or I don't know why you would decide to close your business on Sunday. In fact, I was talking to a business owner about this for months. In fact, I've talked to two business owners about being closed on Sundays. And after they open their shop on Sunday, they are fully booked. You know why? Because the proletariat has to do things on the weekends. We have to go to the dentist on the weekends. If you even have that ability, I'm going in on Tuesday. I actually took the entire day off on Tuesday to go to the dentist because guess what? I have sick leave. But for all of the years that I didn't have it, when are you supposed to go and do the things that you need to do? It's called never. You never can go do things that you need to do. And everything that you do that takes you away from work, like if you get sick, I don't know how many times I've had to come into work so sick I could barely stand up. And my boss would look at me and be like, Millennial Steam, you need to go home. And I'm like, I can't afford to go home. That's where most of the proletariat is. Everything that they do, every hardship that they have, everything about their lives, the first sentence out of the proletariat's mouth is, I can't afford this. I can't afford my rent. I can't afford to eat. I can't afford to get my car fixed. I can't afford a bus pass. I can't even afford Susie Rottencrotch. I can't afford anything. The only thing that's guaranteed of my day is that at some point I'm going to be bending over to get something, and suddenly I'm going to smell the alcohol on Fleece's breath, and suddenly my pants are going to drop below my ankles, my tidy whities are going to be pulled back, and suddenly something's happening to me and I don't know what it is, and it's Evil Corp again letting me know that they're in control. And they do this constantly. Fleece never really leaves your desk. He's just kind of sitting around waiting for you to drop the soap, homie. And then suddenly he's back there having a good time while you're screaming for bloody mercy. And you're just like, what's happening to me? Oh, work's happening to me again. All right. Talking point number two, the psychological toll of extreme poverty is overwhelming as each day is filled with uncertainty about how to make ends meet. There's little space to plan for the future, pursue opportunities, because the focus is purely on survival. This persistent stress affects mental health, creates a relentless feeling of inadequacy and worry that can feel inescapable. Sounds like your typical day at the proletariat farm, right? Where you are constantly under psychological stress. You look at what your paycheck is going to be, you look at your bills, and then you look, if you have them, if you made this horrible mistake in your life to have children, you look at your children's face and you tell them, sorry, Timmy, you're going to have to keep wearing those shoes for another year. And Timmy's toes are already hanging out of his shoes, and you just kind of look at him like, I'm sorry, we don't have money for sneakers this year, maybe next year. In fact, that sounds exactly like what my boss told me last year when I asked about a raise. It's like, sorry, millennials team, it doesn't look like the corporation is going to be able to afford to give you a thin dime. So you're going to have to wear those tighty whities that you're currently wearing, and every time they get dirty on one side, remember there's a clean side on the other side. It comes down to looking at the glass half full. So that is where we're at in our current societies, that people, you look at people right now, like yesterday I went to the gym and I was looking at the girl that has three jobs, that sits at the membership desk, and I walked in and the first thing she said to me is like, millennial steam, look at these eyes. Look at how tired I am from working three jobs with a master's degree and teaching at community college part time. Look at these eyes. Are these the eyes of a healthy person who's making it in life? No, these are the eyes of a person that's failed miserably at life with a master's degree in some and like clinical studies. And you just kind of like, I looked at her and I'm like, you know what? I'm on the verge too. I got into it with management. I'm probably not going to have a job. I mean, every day is my last day at Evil Corp. And that's how I felt my entire life, regardless of where you are. Evil Corp is going to bang the crap out of you. You're going to scream. It's just going to be like bang, bang, bang. And you're going to be like, I can't take it anymore. And then suddenly, you know what? Fleece loses interest. He pushes you out of the way onto the ground. And then he moves on to the next proletariat whose rear end seems to be a much nicer fit for him. But that's just life. You know, they get done using you, they push you aside, you hit the ground, you roll over, you grab your side, and go, ah! And that's it. That's work. That's how work ends for most of us. Is just you get pushed aside, and that's how everything ends. I mean, I think about the person that got fired 3 weeks ago, and they just walked back to her desk at the call center, grabbed her by the scruff of her neck, escorted her out with security, and then she's been unemployed ever since. She's applied for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jobs since then, and guess what? Not a single person has called her back. Not one job. And you're talking about a lot of minimum wage jobs here. Not one employer has called her back for an interview. So they've had to turn to an alternative lifestyle. You know what alternative means for Susie Rottencrotch, right? She's assuming the position much more frequently than she was accustomed to at a much lower level. But that's all of us. We are all going to end up out there shaking our moneymaker for pennies, because that's where we're all heading, right? We're all heading towards the street. We're all heading for that inevitable end, because that's where we all go to. I'm just going to leave it there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and happy Friday. It's finally over. The pain. Fleece can't get you on the weekend. Remember that. Remember, you can hang out there. You can take off your tighty whitey. You can shake your meat and feel free until Monday morning, where you just better put those tighty whities right back on and just put a belt over them to try to keep fleece out.